Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 la
I'd like to welcome you all here tonight, including those people who are joining us through the streaming. I'm Happy Wallach, and this is Leah Kamiankowski, and we feel truly honored and blessed to be here this evening. Did you find yourself rushing to arrive at services before the lighting of the candles tonight? Possibly feeling guilty about last-minute haste? Did you secretly resolve to do better next time? Well, this is the Kol Nidre service, when you can give yourself permission to stop feeling guilty. We are overcommitted humans who make so many promises to ourselves, there's no room for anything else, not even ourselves. We come together during the High Holy Days to become more aware of common bonds that help us transcend our own individual frameworks. The words of the Kol Nidre chant are Aramaic. They derive from a legal document dating from 2,000 years ago. The legal document is a formula for annulling vows. Even that promise you made last year to do better this year. Many people have a moral objection to the idea of casting aside promises as empty. If this is so, then why do we still love this chant or feel obliged to include it in the service? Because Yom Kippur is a time for getting in touch with the sacred. And the Kol Nidre chant is our opportunity to get in touch with Yom Kippur. We do this in the presence of the Torah scrolls, treasuring this tree of life that creates a culture for our people. During the chant, for a brief moment in time, there is no history and no future. Just the emptiness of a present where everything is possible. We are freed from petty thoughts of what has already happened. And we are also in a place where what is still to happen has not yet occurred. Kol Nidre, point zero. Here now, aware, and ready to begin anew.
Making mistakes is part of what makes us human. Our ability to learn and grow from those mistakes makes our lives meaningful and helps us to discover more of who we are. In soul searching, we will look deeply inward and we will renew ourselves. During this year, we can commit to do our best to live up to our highest moral potential. We will start by lighting the memorial candle, and we ask Bellamy Prince, Leah Gilbert, Donna Weinberger, Kirby Date, Happy Wallach, Robin Holtzman, and Andy Oster to come for the lighting of the memorial candle.
We light this candle in the memory of all our loved ones. May their memory be a blessing. We light this candle in memory of the soldiers of the Israel Defense Force, all those who sacrificed their lives for the sanctification of God, and all those who died in the Holocaust. May their memory be a blessing.
We ask Selma to come and light the Shabbat and Yom Kippur candle.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Yom HaKippurim. Yeah. Blessed are you, eternal one our God, the sovereign of all worlds, who has made us holy with your mitzvot, and commanded us to kindle the light of Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement.
Thank you.
We would like to invite you all to rise. We will call forward our Torah holders, Lila Hamp, Maddock Meacham, and Maxine Collin.
Okay. We're going to continue with Kol Nidre on page 694 in the prayer book, and we are going to begin listening the first time through. Erwin will be chanting individually, and then Barb will be playing on the violin the second time through, and then the third time through, we're going to try an experiment, and Erwin is going to lead all of us in the chanting of Kol Nidre in Aramaic. So that's how we're going to be doing it this year.
Kol Nidre v'esore u'shevoe v'harame v'koname v'kinuse v'chinuye de'indarna u'reishtabana harimna odia sarna al nafshatana biyom kippurim she'avad Yom Kippurim zehaba aleinu letova kuchon icharat navehon kuchon yechon sheran shevitin betelin umvutalin Laseririn velakayamin nidrana la nidre v'esarana lo esare U'shavuatana la shavot.
those who want transliteration for Kol Nidre, it's number 1 on the purple supplement. Just follow you.
Okay. Kol Nidre v'esarei u'shivuei v'haramei v'konomei v'kinusei v'chinuyei tindarna ureishtabana harimna sarna al nafshatana miyom kippurim zeh ad yom kippurim zeh haba aleinu letova kohoni haratna ve'han kohon yehon sharon shvikin shvitin betelin umevutalin laseririn velakayamin nidrana la nidre v'esarana lo esare u'shavuatana la shavut.
We're going to put the Torah scrolls back in the ark. Please remain standing. We'll continue on page 696. With the Shechianu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehecheanu v'kiyimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Please turn to page 708 for the Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Va'ed. Please be seated.
We're going to turn to page 709. And if you would be kind enough to read the first three sentences at the top of the page, the Asher Bidvaro. Blessed are you, Eternal One, our God, sovereign of all worlds, by whose word the evenings fall. In wisdom you open heaven's gates. With divine discernment you make seasons change, causing the times to come and go, and ordering the stars on their appointed paths through heaven's dome, all according to your will.
We'll conclude in Hebrew on the opposite page, 710, with the last 2.5 lines in the Hebrew, beginning at the asterisk. At Umavir Yom, we'll pick up the transliteration after the first line. Umavir Yom, Umevi Laila, Umavdil Ben Yom Uvein Laila, Adonai Tzivaot Shemo El Chai V'Kayam Tamid Yimloch Aleinu Leolam Va'ed Baruch Ata Adonai Yalai Lai 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 Yalai Lai 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 Yalai Lai 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 Hama'ariv Haravim.
Page 711, the last 3 lines of the Kavanah below the line. Love is central to Jewish life. Love means commitment and limitations, Torah and mitzvot. That is so both in our relationships with each other and our relationship with God.
We'll continue together chanting in the Hebrew on page 712. Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amcha ahavta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta Al ken Adonai Eloheinu B'shoch beinu v'kulmeinu Nasiach b'chukecha V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha Uv'mitzvotecha Leolam va'ed Ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu Uvahem nehege yomam v'layla Ve'avatecha lo tasur mimenu leolamim Baruch ata Adonai Ya lai 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 ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, Ohev Amo Yisrael. In a moment, we're going to say the Shema, and when we do that, we are going to do something we only do on this day of all days throughout the year, which is to chant the second line of the Shema out loud with as much force and commitment as we do the first line, where we use one entire breath for each word. And one of the interpretations of why we chant Baruch Shem Kavod out loud only on Yom Kippur is that only on Yom Kippur can we imagine that the unity of all things, that Kabbalistically is one of the understandings of the Shema, that the unity of all things, which we can imagine at the supernal levels of our lives in the universe, which is the first line of the Shema. The second line of the Shema affirms that the possibility that we can experience that sense of unity and interconnectedness in our world, in our physical world, and we all know that that is usually a very challenging thing to do, but on Yom Kippur we dare to affirm that possibility out loud instead of in a whisper as on all other days.
Before we begin, I'm going to read the Kavanah on page 713 at the bottom. The Shema challenges us to be fully conscious. True hearing involves an awareness of what is. A moment of full consciousness illuminates our false perceptions and opens us up to new possibilities. It is a courageous and honest encounter with the now.
Page 714.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. Please feel free to continue individually over the next several pages through page 720, or if you prefer, you're welcome to join me in the chanting of a wordless melody, a nigun. We'll join together for the last part of the third section of the Shema on page 722. Will be 4 lines up from the bottom of the Hebrew paragraph, and also the transliteration beginning at the end of that 4th line with the words Lama'an Tizkeru. Lema'an Tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'tem kedoshim le'Elohechem Ani Adonai Elohechem Asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim Lihiot lachem le'Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem Amen.
We will continue with Deeds Are Prayers, number 2 in the supplement, led by Phyllis Maris.
Deeds are prayers. After the destruction of the Second Temple in 70 CE, the Jewish community needed a substitute for the power of the temple's ritual sacrifice. In an early midrashic work, Rabbi Yehoshua and Rabbi Yohanan ben Zakkai are described as walking past the temple, which was then in ruins. Rabbi Yehoshua cried, "What will we do now without the place that atoned for the sins of Israel?" Rabbi ben Zakkai responded, "We can still atone, just as we did through sacrifices, but now we will do so with deeds of loving kindness." Every act of kindness is a prayer that walks, moves, breathes, and lives.
We'll continue on page 728 with Mi Chamocha. Mi Chamocha ba'elim Adonai, Mi Chamocha nedar ba'kodesh, Nora tehilot osef eleh. Malchutecha ra'u vanecha, Bokei hayam lifnei Moshe, Ze'eli anu ve'amru, Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed. V'ne'emar, Kifada Adonai et Yaakov, Uge'alo miad chazak mimenu, Baruch ata Adonai, Yalai, lai, 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 Yalai, lai, 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 Ga'al Yisrael.
If you'll turn to page 731 and read together with me the Kavanah in the middle of the page. Enable us, God, to behold meaning in the chaos of life about us and purpose in the chaos of life within us. Deliver us from the sense of futility in our strivings toward the light and the truth. Give us strength to ride safely through the maelstrom of petty cares and anxieties. May we behold things in their proper proportions and see life in its wholeness and its holiness.
We'll conclude this prayer, the Hashkivenu, in Hebrew on page 730. Transliteration is on the top of 732, and we'll begin, I guess, 4 lines up from the bottom of the Hebrew. In the middle of that line at Ushmor Tseitenu, and the same words can be found 4 lines up from the bottom of the transliteration in the middle of that line as well. Ushmor Tseitenu uvoenu lechayim u'lishalom me'ata v'ad olam ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha Baruch ata Adonai haporeh sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. Please turn to page 734, where we find the 2 signature prayers, one for Shabbat, Vishamru, and one for Yom Kippur, Yechaper Alechem, and we'll chant both of them tonight as it is both Shabbat and Yom Kippur. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam beini uvein bnei Yisrael oti leolam ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash ki vayom hazeh yechaper alechem litaher etchem mikol chatotechem mikol chatotechem lifnei Adonai titharu. We'll continue on page 736 with the Chatzi Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah V'yalma divra chiruteh V'yamlich malchuteh B'chayechon Uvyomechon ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעלם ולעלמי המיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה לעילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תאמירן בעלמא ואמרו amen. In just a moment we're going to begin the evening Amidah on page 740, and this will take us individually through page 755, and I want to encourage people to use the prayer book to whatever extent it works for you, and to close the prayer book to whatever extent it does not work for you. I will say there's lots of different stuff in the prayer book. Don't feel compelled to, necessarily even only look on those pages, but find something, whether in the text or in your own mind and heart, that you feel it would be important to reflect on this evening. And we're going to take a few minutes to do that individually before we together conclude the Amidah. But as a framing, as an inspiration for the Amidah, we're going to have a reading first.
So please read with me on page 740, the drash below the line. So often the power of our lips is limited by our fears and self-doubt. When we say open our lips, we're also saying, God, help me to open up and see beyond my current limits, so that I can recognize and accept the myriad of possibilities in my life.
Please rise for the Amidah. Adonai sifatai tika ufia gitehilatecha. Adonai sifatai tika ufia gitehilatecha. Please be seated. We'll conclude the Amidah on page 756 with Shalom Rav. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav HaYisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav HaYisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov be'enecha levarech et amcha Yisrael ve'et kol yoshvei tevel v'shlomecha. Shalom Rav HaYisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav HaYisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. We're going to proceed with a prayer for healing, Mishaberach, and you can find the words on the purple supplement, number 3. And what I would like to do is, instead of collecting the names of either people here or people who are in the hearts of those who are here this evening, like we would do on a bar bat mitzvah or on a holiday morning like tomorrow also, where we'll either ask people to stand in place or to raise your hand if you yourself or someone that you're thinking about is you would like to include yourself or that person in the prayer for healing. So at this time, if you would do one of those two things, either rise in place or raise your hand. And regardless of whether you are personally standing or have your hand in the air, I just invite everyone just to take a moment to look around the room and see who are the people who are asking to be included on their own behalf or on behalf of those that are important to them. And we gather together our collective focus, our kavanah, and we pray for strength and for healing for all those who are in need. Mi sheberach avoteinu mekor habracha limotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Please be seated. It has become an important custom each year at the Kol Nidre service in our community to invite two of our members to share a personal reflection on a theme that broadly relates to the High Holy Day period or to Yom Kippur specifically. On this day, perhaps more than any other holy day in our calendar, it is critical to be able to make a personal connection between the words and themes of our tradition and the lived experience that we know with our own hearts and minds. It is a blessing for us that we have always had members who are willing to step forward and share some of their thoughts on an aspect of the High Holy Day period that engages them in either a challenging or an inspiring way, or in some combination. These words help us all to put our own lives into better perspective and to more deeply connect with the transformational promise of this time of year. This year, once again, I have invited two Kol HaLev members to reflect through the prism of their own life experience on the theme of the Torah from their lives. The term Torah can be seen both as a specifically Jewish framework for the pursuit of wisdom and holiness in our lives, and also as a Jewish designation for wisdom in general in the world at large. So speaking about the Torah from one's life could involve a person's unfolding relationship to Jewish tradition, or it could be seen as the wisdom one has gleaned through all of one's life experience, or some combination of the two. I have left it up to each speaker to decide which one of these directions they prefer to take with their reflections. I'm pleased to invite Pete Robertson to come forward to share his thoughts on this question.
Thanks. I was humbled to be asked by Steve to talk tonight about my Jewish identity, and I want to start with something I learned 30 years ago. I co-led a workshop for a group of high school students. We'd asked them to come up with a laundry list of all the labels that applied to them, and then asked them to pick the 5 most significant and put them up on the walls. I was fascinated that the girls had all chosen a gender-specific label, but none of the boys had. And all the racial minorities had chosen a race-specific label, but none of the white students had. What I took from this was that those with less privilege or power in our society are either more attached to the identities associated with that inequity or feel less free to prioritize them above them. David Brooks argued a few weeks ago that when you're disrespected for an identity, the natural instinct is to double down on that. Those with privileged identities may feel more free to take them for granted. And I was born a male, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, that classically privileged American identity. Now, there are at least 4 denominations of Protestant in my family history. Protestants have been choosing their denominations since Martin Luther nailed his theses to a church door 500 years ago. And I never thought white meant anything, nor does Anglo-Saxon mean much. Go back 40 generations, that's 1,000 years or so, and you've got 2 to the 40th, or over 1 trillion ancestors in that generation alone. That's 3,000 or 4,000 times as many people as were thought to be alive at that time. Even if race were a thing, which scientifically it's not, the interesting thing would be which ethnicities or subpopulations are not part of you. So white for me has been less an identity than an entry pass for unearned privilege that disconnects rather than connects, like a VIP pass to skip to the head of the food line at a community potluck or at a family wedding. But Ta-Nehisi Coates called people like me dreamers, a reference to the American dream, in which he argues white Americans are lost. My guess is he'd say of my disinterest in my white identity something like this quote from his book: "The forgetting is habit, is yet another necessary component of the dream. They have forgotten the scale of theft that enriched them in slavery, the terror that allowed them for a century to pilfer the vote, the segregationist policy that gave them their suburbs. They have forgotten because to remember would tumble them out of the beautiful dream and force them to live down here with us, down in the world. I am convinced that the dreamers," he wrote, "at least the dreamers of today, would rather live white than free. In the dream, they are Buck Rogers, Prince Aragorn, an entire race of Skywalkers. To awaken them is to reveal that they are an empire of humans, and like all empires of humans, are built on the destruction of the body. It is to stain their nobility, to make them vulnerable, fallible, breakable humans. So I have a VIP pass I did not earn, that others have had to pay for, that afforded me the privilege that may have made it easier for me to emerge from the mikveh waters a few days after 9/11, 16 years ago, as a Jew by choice. And I have yet to pay for that choice. Maybe my name has protected me from attack. Maybe those who see beyond the name and lack of a kippah hide their words or actions. Maybe my cocoon of white male privilege, my general obliviousness to social interaction, or my instinct to understand rather than judge have blurred my awareness of offense and its motives in all its forms. I have witnessed racism, so I'm not totally oblivious, but I'm not as aware as I could be. Maybe the economic, political, and cultural bubbles where I have lived don't see much anti-Semitism. And maybe what's out there, as concerning as any of it must be, is more rare than the media's commercialized hype makes it seem. Maybe it's all of that and more I'm not thinking about. I'm proud of my choice to be Jewish, but I am mindful of how easy it was and has been, and I've slacked off over the years in my efforts to live that identity. I was trying to read Hebrew, then I tried to read English books by and about our texts and rabbis and history, but lately I've only been reading book reviews. I was a madrich here in our children's educational program many years ago, and I served on the board and as our treasurer, but lately I've been a High Holidays Jew. I do feel Jewish, and it is helping me in my effort to wake from the dream. Our adult education course, Jewish Alive in America, a number of years ago, helped me not to actually escape the dream that Coates would likely say is my American narrative, but at least to see the parallel narrative I live as a Jew, a narrative that gives me perspective on the current crisis of American identity. Specifically, understanding that I am Jewish and American helps me stand outside the national narrative and helps me understand that being forced or needing to choose to step out of that narrative is a threat for which I must be prepared. By contrast, I think many who are so fiercely asserting their whiteness are doing it because they have no other compelling source of identity than the dreamer's VIP pass for unearned privilege. Like Cypher in the movie The Matrix, they are being shaken awake from the dream, don't like the rootless void with which reality confronts them, and are so willing to betray everyone around them to get back into the dream. In any case, I do not know how to atone for that for which I am not responsible, but for which others have had to pay and still must pay. I know I have not had to pay for that which I have chosen, and I do not think I should have to atone for that. But this chosen Jewish identity has given me the language of atonement, and this moment to contemplate the opportunity to do better. This is my ongoing tefillah or reflection, and it's helped me seek tzedakah or a connection in the coming year. But I'm still not too clear on teshuvah or direction. I know I must do more to help build a world in which all have the privilege to make identity choices for themselves, and no one has to pay for others' privilege to do that. I have been struggling with how, and I hope for the clarity that this day's discomfort and suspension of life might bring, or some good suggestions if you have them, and I wish all of you a good and reflective fast.
Ya la la la, 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 ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la la, ya la 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 la. I'd now like to invite Donna Weinberger to come and share her reflections.
Good evening. I'm Donna Weinberger. You all know me, or maybe you know my name, right? I'm the one that you don't see in service as much. But I do spend a lot of my time with Greater Cleveland congregations. GCC is that congregation-based, multi-faith community organizing group that works on social justice issues such as gun violence, education, criminal justice reform, and inequality. In the spring of this year, I attended a meeting of GCC's parent organization, which is Metro IAF, and I was asked to speak to the large group on the following topic: why do I do this community organizing work? Why do I do this community organizing work? This work where I have spent so much of my time in the last 6 years, to the point of passion, or some would say craziness. I've actually thought about this question a lot, and the answer hasn't come easily to me. Unlike many others doing this work, I don't have a familial history of religious conviction or social justice work. My parents were ambivalent Jews who frankly were more interested in making it and fitting in than worrying about social justice. So, is my commitment to this work related to my Jewishness? Is there something more to this connection than overused words about Tikkun Olam and the perennial Abraham Joshua Heschel example? My answer? Well, maybe, probably not, and yet. Pay very close attention to the and yets as you come along with me on a journey of discovery. Imagine yourself for a few minutes as me, a young girl growing up in the 60s and 70s in a middle-class, suburban, secular environment in Northern Virginia. I was virtually the only Jew in my class in elementary and high school. My once-a-week Reform Jewish education ended very abruptly at 15 when I dropped out of confirmation class because my teacher told us that if there was an airline crash, we should care more about the Jews who were killed than the non-Jews. When I questioned what I saw as her tribalism, She told me that it was self-hating Jews like me that would end up killing the religion. So, I was done with Judaism and religious education, right? Well, sort of, and yet. It was only later in my life that I came across the notion of Jews as wrestlers with God, and boy, was I a wrestler. In my parents' and some of my teachers' eyes, I just asked too many questions and read too many books. The kinder in my midst would say that I always asked why and was always the one to call out when the emperor had no clothes. Because I grew up when and where I did, many of my questions involved race. Why did my Virginia history textbook say that the slaves were very happy on their plantations? And it did. How come there were no black students in my elementary and middle schools, and then all of a sudden there were black students in my high school? How come all the black families in Fairfax lived on School Street? I only discovered the answer to that recently. I related even less to my Sunday school classes filled with Bible stories and worship services. I remember questioning who thought up that we should all be in a great big group praying to God anyway. My natural introverted self found it bizarre that anyone would find that spiritual or holy. And yet, here's the thing that I've actually never said out loud. I remember talking to God as a child. Not praying, really, just talking. Talking about my life, asking Him, and it was a hymn to me then, questions about why and how things were. Asking Him to help me make choices and just help me deal with things that were hard. I don't know where the idea of doing that even came from. And I also remember having fantasies about being able to go into the sanctuary of my synagogue by myself with the lights out. And I felt like there I could relate to God without all those people around. Here's the other thing. I believed God answered my prayers. Not in a supernatural, make my parents get me a horse way, although I did ask and they didn't. But I believed that if I lay or sat very still, I could actually feel God's presence within me. It was only most recently that I began to link this memory to the Judaic concept of the still, small voice within. As the story of Elijah relates, God does not speak to us through the strong wind, the fire, and the earthquake, but through that still, small voice that I could physically feel in my body when something was right. And yet, here's another one. I believe that I felt God in other ways too back then. I felt holiness and presence in the crossing of boundaries between people. I felt somehow that people had souls, or at least most of them, and that God was there when there was real conversation, real relationship, real bearing of souls between people. Again, it was only much later in my life when I discovered the Kabbalistic idea of the divine spark within and Buber's idea of an I-thou relationship. One more and yet. As a teenager, I remember hearing the words of Amos that were written at a time of oppression and great disparity between the wealthy and the poor. But let justice roll down like water and righteousness like a never-ending stream. Those words, and I remember the day I heard them, gave me chills and made me teary. Here's the thing. I didn't hear them in any synagogue. I heard them through the civil rights movement, which permeated my DC suburb and the lives of my friends, whose parents were the head of organizations such as Common Cause and the National Conference of Christians and Jews. It was only later in my life that I came to discover so many of the Jewish prophets as agitators, which appealed to my agitating soul. Amos's words were so powerful. As we've all seen in the last few weeks, unfortunately, there is nothing more powerful than torrents of water. Justice rolling down like a river means you can't keep quiet. You have to speak out as a Jew. And there was also Isaiah lamenting the empty fast, and Micah rebuking dishonesty and corruption. Even Jesus as a Jew spoke to me as he turned over those moneylenders' tables. So, let's visit this again. How does my work in community organizing relate to me as a Jew? 1, I wrestle with God every day as I ask, why is this world the way it is, and how can it be better? 2, I try to listen to that still, small voice within that guides me in what I consider this holy work. 3, I work on crossing boundaries of color, class, religion, and geography as I strive to find that divine spark, that face of God in all people. And 4, I agitate towards creating a better, fairer world. I'm going to close with this. All the work with GCC is really hard. Creating change is really, really hard. It forces me to do what Eleanor Roosevelt said was the mantra of her life, to do something hard every day. My work leading gun violence and Medicaid campaigns challenged me in this way. But recently, my work in GCC relating to inequality in our neighborhoods and the Q campaign led me to a brand new level of hard. It was local, it was personal, and it had elements of real hate in it from both sides. Actually, I reached my limit. And you know what I found myself doing? I prayed, or at least I talked to God in a way I hadn't since I was a child. And those prayers were simple and direct and actually sounded like a child's. They sounded like this: God, give me the strength to get through this. God, give me the words to say the right thing. And just sometimes, God, help me. So did God answer my prayers? I don't know that I can say that. But here is what I do know. In my real vulnerability at my worst times, some things happened. A pastor from Baltimore who I hadn't talked to for over a year, who's an icon of community organizing, all of a sudden wrote me an email, all caps, and it said, "Hang in there. And remember, the prophets were never popular either." After a particularly contentious meeting, a fellow congregant, and she knows who she is, wrote to me expressing tremendous encouragement and beautiful words of support. And somehow, some way, this was all enough. Thank you.
Ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya We're now going to continue with the part of the service that's specifically focused on the Yom Kippur prayers and themes in the liturgy. And we're going to turn to page 800 for the chanting of the 13 attributes of compassion. And I'll invite all those who are comfortable doing so to please rise as we chant through 3 times. Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum Bechanun, Erech Apayim, V'rach Chesed Be'emet, Notze Chesed La'alafim, Nose Avon Ba'fesha, V'chata V'nakeh. Adonai, Adonai, God loving and gracious, patient and abundant in kindness and truth, keeping kindness for 1,000 ages, forgiving sin and rebellion and transgression, making pure. Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum Bechanun, Erech Apayim, V'rav Chesed Be'emet, Notze Chesed La'alafim, Nose Avon V'fesha, V'chata V'nakeh. Please be seated.
If you'll turn to page 802. Thanks. I'm going to read the Drash on page 802. Like the raw materials in nature, we each possess potential and resistance to developing that potential. This poem invokes the power that will shape our potential for the greatest beauty, service, and goodness. We ask that the resistance to that unfolding be overcome through loving and creative relationship.
We continue with Kihine chanted by Aurelia Pelsmajor.
Kihine kachomer be'achayotzer Verisoto marhiv uversoto mekatzer Ken anachnu beyadcha Chesed notzer Chesed notzer La brichavet, be'al tefen, la yetzer. Ki hine kachiven beyad hamsetatet, bersoto heser, ubersoto mekatet, ken אנחנו בידך, מחיי, מחיי וממוטט, לבריחה ות, בעול תפן, ליצר.
Thank you, Aurelia. Please turn to page 808. And please join me in singing Hashivenu at the bottom of that page. Hashivenu, Hashivenu, Adonai Elecha v'na shuva Chadesh, Chadesh, Yameinu kekedem. Chadesh, Chadesh, Yameinu kekedem. We'll continue on page 814 with Shema Kolenu. Once again, I invite all those who are comfortable doing so to please rise. Shema Kolenu, Adonai Eloheinu, Chus v'rachem aleinu, v'kabel berachamim uv'ratzon, et tefilatenu. Hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva Chadesh yameinu kekedem. Al tashlichenu milfanecha V'ruach kodshecha al tikach mimenu. Al tashlichenu le'et zikna, kichlot kochenu al ta'azvenu. Al ta'azvenu Adonai Eloheinu, al tirchak mimenu. Please be seated. We'll continue on the following set of pages, 816, in the middle of the page. Ki anu amecha ve'ata Eloheinu, anu vanecha ve'ata avinu, anu avadecha ve'ata adonenu, anu kehalecha ve'ata chelkenu, anu nachlatecha ve'ata goralenu, anu tzonecha ve'ata ro'enu, anu charmecha ve'ata notrenu, anu peulatecha ve'ata yotzrenu, anu rayatecha ve'ata dodenu, anu segulatecha, ve'ata krovenu, anu amecha, ve'ata malkenu, anu mamirecha, ve'ata mamirenu.
If you'll take your handout, we're going to read selection number 4, Examining Sin as a Disturbance of Relationship. Are Chuck Hirsch and Shanine Afnan here? Great. They're going to read it for us, please.
Sin is that which disconnects. It involves a disturbance in the relation between humanity and that which confers meaning and value functioning within and through us, godliness. The disrupted relationship is not between ourselves and some supernatural being, but rather a disruption of our relationship to the potential for good, for wholeness, that manifests both in individuals and within human society.
Sins, relationship obstacles, diminish my integrity, keeping me far from others with whom I need to engage, keeping me far from my own good judgment, far from the clarity and wisdom that I need to make wise choices. The effect of sin is further disconnection, a sense of alienation and unwholeness, a fragmentation of self.
We'll turn to page 820 and invite everyone who is comfortable doing so to rise for a Shamnu. And I'll share once again that there is this custom of kind of knocking on our hearts as we recite each of these behaviors. And while it may have been understood and may still be understood in some parts of the Jewish community as a kind of mild self-flagellation, I think that the interpretation that I'm most drawn to is this idea of kind of knocking on our hearts as we are going through this list of and trying to encourage our hearts to be as open as they possibly can. An alternative is that some people actually hold an open hand. Again, if you want to do this at all, you can hold an open hand over your heart as well as more of a sense of compassion for our attempts to live good lives. We're going to, as we chant in the Hebrew, the way that we're going to do this, we did this last year as well, I'm going to chant each word, and then if you would chant it back to me as opposed to just going through. We'll do a call and response version. Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 Ashamnu Bagadnu Gazalnu Dibarnu Dofi Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 Hevinu Vehirshanu Zadnu Chamasnu Tafalnu Shaker Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 Ya'atznura. Kizavnu. Latznu. Maradnu. Niatznu. Sararnu. Avinu. Pashanu. Sararnu. Kishinu oref. Ya la 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 ya la 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 Rashanu Shichatnu Tiavnu Ta'inu Titanu Ya la 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 Ya la 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 la. Now together in English on 8:19. We have acted wrongly, we have been untrue, and we have gained unlawfully and have defamed. We have harmed others, we have wrought injustice, we have zealously transgressed, and we have hurt and have told lies. We have improperly advised, and we have covered up the truth, and we have laughed in scorn. We have misused responsibility, and have neglected others, and have stubbornly rebelled. We have offended, we have perverted justice, we have stirred up enmity, and we have kept ourselves from change. We have reached out to evil, we have shamelessly corrupted, and have treated others with disdain. Yes, we have thrown ourselves off course, and we have tempted and misled. Ya ra 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 ya ra 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 ra. Please be seated.
If you'll take your hand out, Dick and Dina Epstein are going to come up and lead us in the Alhet for the world's refugees.
This one seems to be working better.
Over the course of our Yom Kippur prayers, we recite the Alchet over and over again. V'al kulam Eloha slichot slachnu lanu michal lanu kaper lanu. We take collective responsibility for our communal shortcomings, even for the ways in which we may not have failed individually. We acknowledge both our conscious and unconscious failings.
At this time, we take a moment to reflect on how we fell short in our struggles to confront and stem the tide of refugees' crisis. We acknowledge both the actions we could have taken but did not, and those we never knew to take in the first place. Alchet, Shekanu, Ifikaneka, for the sin we commit when we fail to recognize the enormity and pervasiveness of the global refugees crisis.
Alchet shechatanu lefanecha, when we close our eyes to the horrifying images of people who have lost so much. Alchet shechatanu lefanecha, when we are willing to give tzedakah to our full capacity, unwilling to give tzedakah to our full capacity to ensure that refugees have safe housing, medical care, and food to eat.
May our teshuvah, our tzedakah, and our tefillah enable us to do more in the year to come for those so desperately in need of our protection.
Thank you. We'll turn now to page 827, 828.
for the recitation of the traditional Al-Chet prayer, and I invite all those who are comfortable doing so to please rise. We'll chant this in a combination of Hebrew and English with a focus on the refrain in Hebrew. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, in the closing of the heart. Ve'al chet shechatanu lefanecha, without knowing what we do. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, whether open or concealed. Ve'al chet shechatanu lefanecha, knowingly and by deceit. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, through the prompting of the heart. Ve'al chet shechatanu lefanecha, through the influence of others. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, whether by intention or mistake. Ve'al chet shechatanu lefanecha, by the hand of violence. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, through our foolishness of speech. Ve'al chet shechatanu lefanecha, through an evil inclination. Ve'al kulam Eloha selichot, selach lanu mechalanu kapelanu. Ve'al kulam Eloha slichot, selach lanu mechalanu, selach lanu mechalanu kapelanu. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, in the palming of a bribe. Ve'al chet shechatanu lefanecha, by expressions of contempt. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, through misuse of food and drink. Ve'al chet shechatanu lefanecha, by our avarice and greed. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, through offensive gaze. Ve'al chet shechatanu lefanecha, through a condescending glance. Ve'al kulam Eloha selichot, selach lanu mechalanu kapelanu. Ve'al kulam Eloha slichot, selach lanu mechalanu, selach lanu mechalanu kapelanu. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, by our quickness to oppose. Ve'al chet shechatanu lefanecha, by deception of a friend. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, by unwillingness to change. Ve'al chet shechatanu lefanecha, by our running to embrace an evil act. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, by our groundless hatred. Ve'al chet shechatanu lefanecha, in the giving of false pledge. Ve'al kulam Eloha selichot, selach lanu mechalanu kapelanu. Ve'al kulam Eloha slichot, selach lanu mechalanu, selach lanu mechalanu kapelanu. Please be seated.
Please read responsibly with me the last piece in your supplement. For the mitzvah we have done when we held back a sharp and critical tongue, Ken Yehi.
For the mitzvah we have done, we gave a compliment.
For the mitzvah we have done when we helped friends or strangers in need, Ken Yehi.
For the mitzvah we have done when we studied Torah,
For the mitzvah we have done when we put the needs of the community ahead of our own, Ken Yehi.
for the mitzvah we have done when we gave respect to parents and elders.
For the mitzvah we have done when we gave loving attention to our children, Ken Yehi. For the mitzvah we have done when we acted or spoke out against racism, sexism, and homophobia, Ken Yehi.
For the mitzvah we have done when we took action for the sake of Allah.
Ken Yehi.
We'll turn now to page 454 for the refrain of Avinu Malkeinu. It's traditional not to recite Avinu Malkeinu when Yom Kippur falls on Shabbat because it is thought of as the most pleading of all the prayers in the High Holy Day liturgy, and this is where Shabbat the idea that Shabbat is supposed to be a time when the world is as it should be for a little while. And so if we recited Avinu Malkeinu, it would be kind of a slap in the face to that notion of Shabbat. So we're going to as we are wont to do, split the difference this evening, and we're not going to recite the entire litany of Avinu Malkeinu requests, but we are going to sing the words and the melody of just the refrain at the end on 454. I think that we will also not stand for this, and we normally would, but I think we will. That will be another way that we differentiate a recitation on when the holiday falls on Shabbat. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 ya la la la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Avinu Malkeinu, Chonenu V'Anenu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chonenu V'Anenu, Ki ein banu masim. Aseh imanu, tzedaka v'chesed. Aseh imanu, tzedaka v'chesed, v'hoshienu.
Now turn way back to 1202 for Aleinu. And in the midst of Aleinu, we're going to also turn to 1205 for the Drash. But let's start on 1202.
Please rise if you are comfortable doing so. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, latet gdula liotzer breshit, shenatan lanu Torah emet, v'chaye olam nata b'tocheinu, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, Lifnei Melech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Page 1205 at the bottom, the Drash. When senseless hatred reigns on earth and people hide their faces from one another, then heaven is forced to hide its face. But when love comes to rule the earth, and people reveal their faces to one another, and the splendor of God will be revealed.
Hakatuv b'toratecha, Adonai imloch leolam va'ed, ve'emar, ve'haya Adonai, lemelech al kol ha'aretz, bayom ha'hu, Bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad, u'shemo Please be seated. We're going to continue on page 1216 with Mourner's Kaddish. And for this, we will invite those who are reciting Kaddish this week, either in commemorating a Yortzeit, the anniversary of the death of a loved one, or those who are in one of the traditional periods of mourning. Our custom here is to invite those who are officially reciting Kaddish to rise first, to share, if you wish to, the name and connection to the person that you're saying Kaddish for, and then for the rest of the community to rise at Yehei Shmei Rabbah in support of those who are saying Kaddish today, and in memory of all those who have passed away throughout history without anyone to say Kaddish for them. So at this time, will those saying Kaddish please rise? And if you wish to share your saying Kaddish for your own. Page 1216. Yitkadal, Yitkadash, Shmei Rabbah, Yalma, Dibra, Cherute, Yamlit, Malchute, V'chayechon, Yomechon, Chaye, Dechol Beit Yisrael, Bagala, Ubizman, Karib, Imru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah, Barach, Alam, La'alme, Almaya, Yitbarach, Yishtabach, Yitpa'ar, Yitramam, Yitnaseh, Yithadar, Halal Shmei Sham Riku. Le'ela, Le'ela, Mikol Birchata B'shirata, Tushbachata V'nechemata, Ta'amiran B'alma V'imru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba Mid Shemaya, V'chayim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'mromav, Uya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael, V'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel, V'imru Amen. May the one who creates harmony above make peace for us and for all Israel and for all who dwell on earth. And we say, Amen.
Good Yontif. I'm Carly Whitaker. I'm the president of the Board of Trustees, and it's my pleasure just to offer our thanks for this evening. And I first want to start with thanking Leah and Happy for just a beautiful service, and Rabbi Steve. Thank you to everyone who did a reading. Thank you to those who helped make our service musical and beautiful with the Kol Nidre musicians, and to Aurelia. Thank you. I'm really grateful for we have the best setup crew ever that got here at 4:30 this afternoon to set up the sanctuary. And thank you to Greg for taking care of the AV, and to Brian for setting up our live stream so that our friends who are abroad can be with us here tonight. And I want to especially thank Donna and Pete for offering your reflections on your life this evening. It's always my favorite thing is to be able to get to know some of our members a little bit better through sharing your stories and being brave enough to be up here to do that. I do want to say an initiative that's come out of the board, out of a process we've been part of called the Leadership Task Force, was something called one-on-ones, and we had our kind of test run Elul conversations where members were invited to sit down with someone they might not know so well for coffee during the month of Elul leading up to the High Holy Days to share their stories and reflect together. And I know it was very meaningful for a lot of people, and it's something that as a board we will be continuing with an initiative this year. So I look forward to more opportunities to share stories and be a place where we're fully known to each other. So thank you. I do want, if you are a guest, I really want to welcome our guests and our visitors. And for new members or guests or visitors, just to give you a kind of an outline of tomorrow. Tomorrow we will start our services at 9:30 a.m. here. There'll be children's programming starting at 10:30 and a Tot Parent Shabbat program at 11. After that service, which will end at about 12:30, we will be moving over into the chapel for something called Avodah. This is an offering. So if you're invited to bring something you've written, a poem, something musical, you're bringing something that you'd like to offer to the community for that service, which is at approximately 12:45. Immediately following that, Nancy Rebel will be leading a meditation, so if you'd like to join us for a meditation. And then after that, we have a guest coming in. It's Reverend Colvin, who is the Reverend at Olivet Institutional Baptist Church, will be our social justice Tikkun Olam speaker. We're going to be doing it in the chapel, and that starts at 2:45 tomorrow. It will last for approximately an hour. Immediately after that, we have a Torah study, and then we will reconvene in this room for Yitzker at 5 o'clock, and then end with Ne'ilah. So that's the outline for tomorrow. I did want to also just bring your attention to a flyer that's out on the information table out there. We have our Tikkun Olam Drive. We are collecting donations for HIAS, which is the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society for refugees, and for our local affiliate of that, Us Together, as well as for Mazon. But just this week, we decided to also join an initiative of gathering used clothing, new underwear, non-perishable foods, school supplies to send down to Hurricane Harvey, down to Houston. So the collection spot for that is at B'nai Yeshurun from 8:30 to 5:30, starting on Sunday through Wednesday. So if you have any items that you'd like to be able to donate, there's a list here of what they could use. So I really encourage you to do that. And on a kind of related note, on Sunday, we will be setting up our sukkah to get ready for our next holiday. And if you're able to help us build the sukkah Sunday at 10 o'clock, that would be very much appreciated. I think that's it. So Shabbat Shalom, Gemar Chatima Tova, and Laila Tov.
Thank you. We're going to actually conclude where we started with the melody and words of Hashivenu that can be found on page 808. I just want to put in an extra plug. Those of us who have been involved in GCC for a while have had the pleasure of hearing Reverend Colvin speak. And he is, there aren't too many people like him around here who can speak the way that he does with a level of inspiration and passion, and he's going to talk about his work with social justice. So I would heartily encourage, especially people who haven't had the opportunity to hear Reverend Colvin, to seriously consider coming to that part of the programming tomorrow. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. Ya ya la 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 la. Hashivenu, Hashivenu, Adonai elecha v'nashuva v'nashuva Chadesh Chadesh Yamenu kekedem Chadesh Chadesh Yamenu kekedem. Shabbat Shalom, good Yontif, a good ceiling for everyone for the new year.